Let's paint together this peony looking beautiful pink tulip with watercolors. Let's go! An outline drawing is done. Need to remove the excess amount of graphite off the paper. Doing this really careful because still this tulip is quite light, especially closer to the edge line, and we don't need those graphite marks visible under watercolors. Some more visible graphite marks removing with eraser, but be really careful, don't erase too hard, don't push too hard, you can damage the paper easily. And with bigger brush, removing the dust from the paper. Now we can mix watercolors. Adding water to color palette. Starting first mix with permanent rose. There's a lot of pinks, of course, and this will be main pink color, permanent rose. It can be opera rose or some other. Adding Indian yellow. There are yellows in that pink color of the tulip, making it more peachy color, peachy pink looking color. For the second mix, permanent rose, and adding to this ultramarine blue, slight violet accent to this permanent rose. Third mix, a little touch of permanent rose, and the fourth is sap green for the stem. Lemon yellow, adding a little bit more of sap green, perlin maroon for some darker areas. I like that I can leave little areas on my palette and use them when I need them. And now let's get back to our drawing. Be sure that your water is clean after mixing watercolors. We will start by applying water to first petal. And very watery, very thin, applying watercolors. Closer to the edge line, I'm using clear permanent rose, and on the base of this petal I'm taking permanent rose with Indian yellow, a little bit higher permanent rose with a little touch of ultramarine blue, and now I'm pushing, spreading watercolors closer to the edge line, working really thin and transparent. We are just establishing colors, tones. With bigger synthetic brush, spreading watercolors carefully closer to the edge. Looking at the reference, adding a little bit more to the darker shadow area of this petal. The first layer is very transparent. Middle part is left light. There is a little light area. Adding a little bit more while the surface is wet. I can carefully add watercolors, but still I'm doing that really transparently and thinking where I'm adding, constantly looking at reference. Noticing how this petal, how the form is, where it is curved, and with the brush I'm following the lines of that petal curve. Spreading watercolors. Adding a little bit more darkness. That area of this petal is really saturated and dark, so we will be adding there more and more layers, but for now I can carefully just add a little bit more to make it more contrasty and to see the even after the first layer, see the difference of lights and darks, but still doing that really transparently. Now I'm at the finishing stage of painting this tulip, adding last details, some brush strokes, greater contrast to the shadow area, looking at reference, noticing maybe some changes are required. This is the last part of this painting process, and you can maybe even take a break and then come after like 10-20 minutes and see with a fresh eye what you need more, what is required. Maybe it's enough, maybe you can push yourself a little bit further and add a little bit more of details. For example, don't forget the stem. Pay as much attention to the stem as you do for the flower, because very often I see that the flower head is done beautiful, amazing, but the stem was done in a rush, and that really changes the whole look of the composition of the painting. The flower can be done amazing, but if the stem is done so in a rush, then you can really destroy the whole painting. just with that, it doesn't mean that it is small and not so important, so I can just paint some little layers and then call it done. Be careful with that. Pay as much attention as you can. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. It was a very pleasure to make this beautiful tulip, which in my opinion looks like peony. And see you in my next tutorials. Thank you. Bye bye.